So we come to our second day time where our rabbinic intern would always give the second day Rosh Hashanah Dvar Torah, and then when you as an organization make a mistake and promote them, you don't have somebody to preach on day two anymore. So we started this last year, and y'all said you liked it, so we're going to do it again this year, which is we took an idea from the cutting room floor. You know, we each have to write talks, and so we took one idea that didn't make it into our sermons this year, and decided to flesh it out a little bit and have a conversation with y'all as witness to that idea. And we'll start with you, Rabbi Sher.
So as I was going through, one of the things that has jumped out at me over the last few months was a friend posted a did you know? He posted online, he said, did you know Yom Kippur is considered a day of joy? Now, obviously, you can imagine the flood of comments he got. A day of joy, I don't eat for 25 hours. A day of joy, we bang our chest in the middle of services. Like, what are you talking about, a day of joy? How could it possibly be considered a day of joy? Because it certainly feels like a lot of the classical pieces of Yom Kippur would lean in a different direction. Even if we're pleased to do the work, it is certainly not considered a day of joy. And to further this point, there are Jewish texts that point out that it is considered one of the two happiest days of the year, only actually rivaled by Tu B'Av, a day that is supposed to be a celebration of love in our tradition. So I was really baffled by this and questioning, and I actually went into your office and said, okay, I don't get it. How are we possibly supposed to show this, teach this as a day of joy?
So for me, one of the ways that Yom Kippur is connected to joy is that if you've learned with me, you know that I completely buy into the theory that Sukkot was the big harvest festival, the end of the year. And so we're in the 7th month, right? You read our text that said in the 7th month, we're going to blow shofar, the first day of the 7th month. This is month 7. So we're at the end of the year. We're coming to the last harvest of the year. The rest of the year, of course, will be winter. And in Israel, like in so many places, in winter, there is no crop. So your crop at Sukkot, your fall harvest is what fed you. That's what made sure you didn't starve during the winter. So with Sukkot coming, you wanted to clean up, right? There's only Yom Truah in the Bible. That's all it says about the first day of the 7th month. We made it Rosh Hashanah when the new year beginning in the fall became the tradition, but it wasn't so in the Torah as we read the 7th month. So that meant Yom Kippur was actually in preparation for Sukkot. Yom Kippur had nothing to do with Rosh Hashanah. It wasn't Rosh Hashanah. It was Yom Truah, the day of blowing the shofar to know that Yom Kippur was coming. We're in the month that holds Yom Kippur, our holiest day, so that we can get ready for the big party at Sukkot. So the work of Yom Kippur was with an eye towards the big party. V'hayita ach sameach. That's the command for Sukkot. You're supposed to be only sameach, only joyful. Well, you can't do that if you owe somebody an apology that you're going to see at the party. You can't be ach sameach, only happy, if somebody really dissed you really badly, and you're going to be sitting at the same table at the Sukkot festival. And so the work of Yom Kippur was to get us to having a super good time on Sukkot.
Okay, fine. So you're basically saying it's the holy stress cleaning day, right? Before you have the big event, you go through, you clean the whole house, and some of us even feel pretty good about that stress cleaning in that moment, but it's still cleaning. It's still not the joy. Even while I'm doing it, I'm motivated by the day of joy coming up. And the rabbis didn't make a mistake. So why call Yom Kippur the day of joy if it's really the day of preparing to be joyful?
Well, because I think we don't really, in our modern 2022 America, first world, industrialized, consumerist, individualist culture, we don't get joy as being different from happy. We think of joy in our culture as, oh, I'm happy, right? And I'm supposed to be happy. And that if I have to do hard work, if I have to dig deep, if I have to confront some stuff, well, then I'm not happy. So how could I possibly be joyful? But that's not Jewish.
Oi.
Right? That's not Jewish.
No, in fact, the Talmud goes even further to say that joy is directly associated to the idea that being forgiven from our misdeeds, the opportunity to start a fresh new idea, to be freed of our mistakes, should in fact feel really joyful.
The possibilities, right? We forget about possibilities. We forget about change. We forget that we really can make different choices. And that is supposed to be liberating. Our tradition has never understood happy or sad in a vacuum without each other. Our tradition, one of the things I find as I get older and older and older, what I find the most profound is that our tradition holds happy, sad, joyful, mournful together all the time. Under the chuppah, supposed to be the happiest day of a couple's life, and for their family, one of the happiest days of their life. What do we do to end the ceremony?
Smash.
We smash a glass. Why? 2 Jews, 3 opinions. So there's lots of opinions about why. But any explanation you get is about brokenness. It's about the fact that we remind ourselves on the happiest day ever, right there, at that moment, under the chuppah, we smash something to say the world is still a deeply broken place. May your love and your commitment to each other, you are obligated in having found one another to go out there and use that love and use what you have together to make this world a better place. If you go to Shiva, I don't care how deep the tragedy is, at some point, there's laughter in a Shiva house.
And that's not even the tradition. That's human nature.
That's human nature. And our tradition is very good, I think, at holding the incredibly growthful tension of joy and sadness together.
I think the whole notion behind that is that there's actually a deeper sense of joy, as we've already started to say, this richer joy that you get to when you have to go through this journey of struggle. And we can take that from the really, really basic of who here has ever had to run their first 5K and remember the day they first started walking to the day they figured out the 5K and how good you felt and how you said, I'm never doing this again, but still felt really good when you crossed the finish line. All the way from moments like that to when you finish a jigsaw puzzle that had 1,000 pieces in it and you were sure the dog ate that one piece until you realized it was right next to you the whole time. But that same feeling when you finish that whole thing, I think all of that goes into this feeling of the journey to joy. Has anyone ever been into a home that you might have seen a 1 square foot? In a lot of homes, especially in Israel, it's often in a more Orthodox home, but there's a lot of different homes that have it. There's 1 square foot of unfinished wall. You ever seen this? It doesn't matter how beautiful the rest of the house is, there's a square foot, and I think of it in Jerusalem because you see this Jerusalem stone. Even if there's drywall and other stuff everywhere else, there's this 1 square foot of stone. And the idea behind it was 2 different pieces of thought. One was, of course, that we won't finish our own homes until we rebuild the temple. That's not really the one that resonates to me as rabbi, but the notion that we're never done with the work of building our home, that we're never done with the work, that in order to create that high level of joy, we have to consistently be building and struggling and changing and rebuilding and reorganizing and going through all of it, because that unfinished work of the world has to be inside of our home as well. And I think that is a big piece of what the tradition is pointing out. But there's still this tension to that, because I appreciate all the work. I actually really appreciate that we're not given okay, you get 2 per year, get out of jail free cards that God's going to give to you and you're good to go. I appreciate that we have to actually work at it and address what's gone wrong. I'm just so curious about why they choose the word joy.
Because I think there's something really joyful and really hopeful about everybody showing up. Everybody shows up to do it. And that this many of us show up again this year in a world where it's really easy, sorry, Ben Allen, where it's really easy to give up and say the whole thing's a mess. It's completely irreparable. That so many people show up, I think, is a really joyful thing.
It's like when we beat our chest and say, Hashem knew, but God knew, right? That we say it in the plural, that it's not even just that they show up, that I actually like that we expect each other to show up. I like that. That to me feels like, imagine going to the party and no one showed up. We expect each other to show up. We expect that our community will be there to hold us up. You said it at a wedding, we expect our loved ones to show up. At a Shiva, we expect our loved ones to show up. Maybe that is a piece of this, is knowing that you can be so, I don't even have the right word for it, but just so willing to expect that your community will be there, and therefore that we all know we have to do that. Maybe that's part of the building of this joy, is knowing that everyone else has got our back, we've got to have their back, and if we do that right, that we'll be able to get to this level of joy.
Amen.
But what about that party?
What about that party? So here's the thing. Jews are sick and tired of being in shul by Sukkot. They're tired of it, so nobody comes. Rabbi, why don't we have services for Sukkot? Because nobody comes, and y'all wouldn't come, and we know it. So here's the thing. It was supposed to be a party. All the work we do in Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of Tshuva, the Aseret Yemei Tshuva, the 10 days of repentance, then all of Yom Kippur, all that suffering and all that work. It's supposed to be for the party. And I've preached it, and I've preached it, and I've preached it, that we keep missing the boat because we keep not having a party. And so then my Torah study group said, well, why don't we have a party? I'm like, dang, I hate it when they listen and then they want you to actually do something. So we're gonna have a party, people. We are not asking you to come to services. We're not asking you to come sit and learn. We are gonna have a Sukkot bash at KI. We're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it biblically. We're gonna work Yom Kippur so that we can have a massive party on the patio in the Sukkah for Sukkot. So join us for our Sukkot bash this year, happening in October.
October 9th, Sunday, 5:30 p.m.
October 9th?
I think so. That was totally a guess. Don't actually wait for the email. That was totally just for the effect. Wait
The
for
10th?
the email.
The 9th. Okay.
I was right, Rebecca.
October
Yes.
9th. Thanks, Rebecca. Fact checker up there. So October 9th, join us, and we wish you Shana Tova and look forward to seeing you at the gathering after we've done all the cleanup from Yom Kippur.
So let's get this done. Let's finish this in community. Let's go through our days of repentance. Let's truly look people face to face. And then we can all look back. We can take that last exhale like we did with our Shema earlier, and we can truly party. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.